that notice of this meeting has been posted in accordance with the Texas Open Meetings Act, Texas Government Code Chapter 551. Please stand.
If you'll please bow your heads for prayer. Heavenly Father, as we gather for this school board meeting, we seek your wisdom and guidance. Your word in James 1:5 promises wisdom to those who ask. So we humbly ask for insight on our decisions. Just as you guided Moses through challenges, lead us in making good choices for our students, our teachers, and our community, as La Feria has the most beautiful community. And we thank you for all the people present here today. Grant us unity of purpose and open hearts to understand one another. We invoke your presence to bring a spirit of cooperation and empathy to our discussions. Help us remember Ephesians 4:3 to make every effort to maintain unity in the Spirit. May our actions reflect your love and grace, and may our decisions align with your plans for this institution. Lord, we thank you again. Pray for all those not feeling well, and thank you for a wonderful board that we have. In your name I pray, amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state under God, one and indivisible.
Thank you, Mrs. Johnson. It was so nice to see the kids recite along with us. It was nice. You don't hear that very often. Thank you, boys and girls. Do I have a motion to approve the minutes of December 9th, 2024?
I make a motion.
I have a motion by Mrs. Martinez. Do I have a second?
I second.
And I have a second by Mrs. Johnson. All those in favor, raise your hand or say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Motion carried, 6-0. And now for the next item, school board recognition.
Thank you, Madam President. I'll go ahead and turn it over to Ms. Ramos, and she's going to lead us in this.
Yes. Good evening, Board President, Ms. Castillo, Superintendent, Ms. Torres, and board members. Tonight we are going to be recognizing you all during Texas Board Appreciation Month. I would like to introduce student representatives from all our campuses that will assist us tonight. From Sam Houston Elementary, we have Adeline Cavazos. David Sanchez Elementary, Leila Ortega. C. Bell Elementary, Leonardo Rosales. Nani Dominguez Elementary, Calisi Gonzalez. W.B. Green Junior High, Clarissa Silva. La Feria Early College High School, Clarissa Diaz. Clarissa Diaz, President from La Feria Early College, will now share a few words with the board.
January is School Board Recognition Month, and La Feria ISD is celebrating its trustees for their dedication and commitment to the district and its students. With the theme Leadership for Tomorrow's Texas, La Feria ISD would like to spotlight the essential role school board members play in guiding the future of education. The month-long observance is an opportunity for members of our community to strengthen their understanding of the crucial role school boards play in uplifting public education and representing our representatives. School trustees voluntarily tackle the job of governing school districts and do so in a manner that shows what it means to be unwavering to their commitment to the school children they serve, said Dan Troxell, TASB Executive Director. While board members come from different backgrounds and live different lives, they collectively come together with the common goal to support students. School board members are the state's largest group of elected officials. Thank you, La Feria ISD School Board, for your leadership and commitment to ensuring we are provided opportunities to be successful.
Thank you, Clarissa. Now I would like to introduce our Noemi Dominguez Elementary School Choir that will share a song with the board this evening. Choir.
Well, we didn't get to come sing for y'all during Christmas, so we're going to sing a Christmas song that we sang for our front office staff at the Dominguez, and we have a class of 35, but I know there's ACE going on and spelling bee contest tonight, so get back up here in the front row. You think she's tall? Anyway, but we have a class of about 35, 36, and so we're going to sing a song for you. It's one of our Christmas songs. It's called Peppermint Candy Cane.
Peppermint, peppermint candy cane, red and white and sweet. Tasty candy, you're so dandy, the perfect holiday treat. Don't you think that you look perfect on a Christmas tree? Don't you think that you're so minty, perfect for me? Peppermint, peppermint candy cane, red and white and sweet. Tasty candy, you're so dandy, the perfect holiday treat. Don't you think that you look perfect on a Christmas tree? Don't you think that you're so minty, perfect for me? Peppermint, peppermint candy cane, red and white and sweet. Tasty candy, you're so dandy, the perfect holiday treat. Tasty candy, you're so dandy, the perfect holiday treat. The perfect holiday treat. Yum, yum.
Good job, ladies.
Can we take a picture with the board? If they'll just turn around and if the board will
They'll
go,
turn
and
around,
we'll take
come
a
up
picture
here.
with them.
Back row back here.
Oh, what? Oh,
Back row, front row on the ground, back row on the right.
I'll go there.
And the board's going to get a picture. They don't have a picture.
Great job. Can you see that?
And that's not even half of it. You ready? 1, 2, 3.
Good job, ladies.
Thank you so much. Thank you, great job. Good job. Thank you.
I want to tell you, I was in Park when I was in the 7th grade many years ago. And to hear them sing brings memories, because I was your size once upon a time, maybe 100 years ago. But this is just really, really special. Choir was really important to me. I couldn't afford an instrument being bent, so I was in choir all my school career. So you brought very good memories to me. Thank you so much, ladies.
I'm glad we didn't have a ball, because we'd be going deaf in here.
Thank you, Noemi Dominguez Elementary Choir and Mr. Ashley for this wonderful performance.
Thank you, girls.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And I understand that this was Mr. Lucio's idea, so thank you, Mr. Lucio.
Yes,
I
thank
see-
you.
I saw your face, you were beaming. I'm so proud of your students. So proud of your students. Thank you, sir.
Tonight, the campuses board would like to share gifts and recognition for your outstanding board, for our outstanding board members at La Feria ISD. We are blessed to have board members who also place students as a priority in decision making. We'll have our campus representatives. In addition, we have Daniela Sanchez, Vice President of La Feria Early College, as well, passing out. No, we, campus representatives?
Daniela was at the door with your gifts.
Probably taking mine home and keeping it. Thank you, Ma.
Oh, except for this one double, I'm sure she'll get this.
I'll take them to her.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
And can we take a picture as well with our representatives from our campuses? You're not gonna get away that fast. We'll be the toilets.
Y'all did the exercise, you board up and down, up and down.
Before you leave, I would like to say thank you to the representatives that came to deliver the gifts, and of course to our campus administrators that also purchased these gifts. This is probably the best time to be a board member. Not only this, but to feeling the appreciation that we get from you. And I really hope that you all feel the support that we have for all of you, because we know it's a tough job out there. And we really are here for you all. So thank you for this, but, you know, thank you for doing what you do. And thank you for coming.
She was just sharing a note to,
Oh, the note that you wrote, that they wrote.
they wrote to you, to the,
Should I read this? or-
oh, no, it's just,
Oh, okay. This is nice though. Okay.
Board of Trustees, as I call your name, would you please come to receive your certificate? Board President Jane Castillo.
And this is the official TASB board recognition.
Vice President Lisa Montalvo, but she was not able to make it tonight. Board Secretary, Ms. Katie Johnson.
Thank you.
Board Member, Mr. Juan Briones. Board Member, Ms. Gloria Casas. Board Member, Ms. Alma Martinez. And last but not least, Board Member, Mr. Ruben Zambrano.
This is just gonna be the board members, so they're all go. Yes.
Hold it.
Not upside down.
One, two, three. Let's do another. One, two, three.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Mrs. Ramos. That was fun. Do you have anyone that has signed up for public comment?
Yes.
Okay. The next, before I address Mr. Villalobos, basically I need to read this, you know that, okay? The next item on the agenda is open forum or public comment. Before we begin, I will remind our audience members of the board's procedures for handling public comment. The public comment portion of our meeting is available to members of the public who wish to address an agenda item to be considered by the board on tonight's agenda or other topic. Anyone who wants to speak during public comment must sign in prior to the start of the meeting and this agenda item or topic they want to discuss. Each public comment speaker will be allowed a maximum of 5 minutes to address the board. However, any public testimony speaker who requires a translator will receive up to 5 minutes to address the board. The public comment portion of the meeting will allow all speakers who have signed up before the start of the meeting to address the board regarding an item on tonight's agenda or other topic. Please keep your comments or criticisms civil and courteous. Please also avoid using profanity and refrain from making personal attacks on others during your opportunity to speak. Last, we ask that you do not discuss students who are not your own child. If a speaker is seeking board resolution of a specific complaint, that concern should be addressed to the district's grievance process. District policy DGBA has been established for addressing employee complaints. Policy F&G is the avenue for filing parent complaints. And policy GF addresses committee member complaints. Grievance forms can be obtained at any campus administration office or is in the central administration office. Thank you. Our first speaker is Mr. Joel Villalobos.
Good evening, President Castillo, Ms. Torres, school superintendent, and our board members. I know most of you guys know that I've been a board member for 12 years. Most of you, you were here and then you left and came back, it was good, you know. And I'm not here to complain. I know I've been on that side before, you know, and I just have a small concern. You know, been seeing the news. I'm a supporter from La Feria as I've been here. I lived here all my life, right? And one thing I really admire Mr. Ashley here, bringing the choir to school, great. That's awesome. You know, like most of you know that I play in the choir for many 45 years in the churches and stuff. That is awesome. You know, and a lot of things that is really happening, which is really good, and I'm very proud of you guys on board. You know, the only concern I have, it's on the news, and La Feria is growing. La Feria is growing a lot. I see houses everywhere. You know, and my concern was that we're gonna close one of the school campuses. You know, I said, why are we doing that? You know, because sir, I'm not in the board yet, and I like to see more information. I like to be so involved as far as, you know, what's our enrollment. I know I'm involved in sports as well. I go to football games all the time. We were a 4A Division I, now we're Division II. I said, okay, our enrollment went down. Good. We're better competitive, Port Isabel, and this and that, right? But not only that, I'm just concerned as a community member as far as what's gonna happen to the future. You know, I know in the future when we were here, we bought land and we still have 100 acres over there where San Houston, right? And I know we have property there that because I'm a member for La Feria, right? And the thing is that be on the lookout. I mean, not just as a board, I mean, of course, you're gonna give them information what's happening. As far as the growth, you know, we're gonna grow, you know, and so just keep in mind, I'm kind of speaking as a member, like when I was a board member. You know, one thing I wanted to get advice, and I'm not sure how you guys are, Unity, great if you are, but there at a time that we were there was a little bickering, fighting, you know, but we said to ourselves, focus on one thing, the education of the kids. If you focus that, everybody's gonna make the right decision. Very simple. And that's one thing that I kept in mind and like to pass it on. If y'all are doing it great, great. If not, just keep that in mind. Just keep that in mind. You know, we need to work together. You know, like I said, I don't know, you know, some of the new members, I don't know how you guys are working together. I do not know, because I haven't been there. But like I said, the bottom line, my concern is that we're growing, and I'm telling you, I'm sure houses everywhere, they're growing everywhere. You know, I have a cousin that wants to move down to La Feria because he lives in Sugar Land, and traffic is terrible over there. So he's looking around buying a house and stuff, and we've been looking and stuff. Man, it's growing a lot. So my concern was that, again, I'm repeating myself, is just that look at the growth, and whatever decision y'all make as, you know, closing campuses. I mean, I know you don't have to tell me now, but I know the rules and stuff. I like to get a response of what are we closing? Are we closing CEVL or what, you know? I like to know what's happening, you know. It's just as a concern. It is not a grievance, it's not a complaint, just to bring it to y'all's attention, you know. That's basically it. So the only thing that I ask is if the information that we have, mail me or tell me where I can look for it stuff, you know, I'll be more than glad to see what's going on. As a concerned citizen, that is it. There's no complaints. You know, when I saw a lot of people here, oh my God, you man, they're like complaining, I'm like, but it's something else, and it's great. I really appreciate that very much. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you, Joel.
Thank you, Mr. Villalobos.
Yeah, I'll see you for a little bit.
The next item is information item, Superintendent Performance Goal 1, Activity 5, addressing absences and failures.
Thank you, Board President and board members. So Superintendent Performance Goal 1, Activity 5, talks about absences and failures. I've also given you a copy that Mr. Cavazos gave me today of our ADA and absences. And so the first slide that you see talks about Saturday school. And so we talked about a new initiative that we used to have years ago that we were bringing back, is to have our students that are missing, because the law says they have to be in attendance 90% of the time. So if they've missed 3 times the first 6 weeks, 6 times the second 6 weeks, 9 times by the third 6 weeks, they're on that track to not receive credit because they will fall below that 90%. So we're trying to attack that by having students come to Saturday school. If you look at the handout that I gave you, one of the things, and it's also on the next slide, if you look at the next slide, last year The first 6 weeks, we had 95.22% attendance. This year, 95.08, so we were down a little bit in attendance for the first 6 weeks. However, the second and the third were above where we were last year. So overall, the difference, we were up 0.05. What does that look like at ADA? Because we know we have attendance, and then we know we have ADA is how we are funded. And so ADA, we know that this year we're down about 32 students from where we were last year. And even though we were down 32 students, because our attendance is up, you can see that we are up 1.15 in ADA. So that's how important attendance is. And even though we have lost attendance over the years, and I'll mention this here, we will contact you, Mr. Villalon, and meet with you. But over the last 10 years, we know that we have lost about 800 students in the last 10 years. And so this year we lost 32. But again, keep on pushing the fact with our campuses that the better that we do with attendance, the more that will not impact us with ADA. Any questions about attendance?
I do have a
Yes,
question. On the second 6 weeks and the third 6 weeks, there was a drop. Is there a reason? Is there more, like detail, more thorough like what caused that drop from us for second 6 weeks through
The
third?
second and third were actually up, ma'am. The first 6 weeks, there was a drop. So the first 6 weeks, in 23, 24, we're at 95.22, and then the next this year, 95.08. So we were down the first 6 weeks, but up the second and third.
So is there, do you know, like, is it weather, is it sickness?
Like I can tell you, this 6 weeks is the 6 weeks that we always struggle with the most. Just because of students getting the flu, students getting sick. Today, for example, I had Sanchez Elementary that was over 96%, but then I had 2 campuses that were at 92. And so it always has to do a lot with people getting sick. I know even with the staff, we've had some people out with flu and things like that. So we always struggle with that the 4-6 weeks. We did meet the 5% of migrants, so we know we'll be able to drop those 2 attendance. It's probably gonna be the 4-6 weeks and one other. But again, campuses are doing a whole array of things to try to, I know Mr. Briones contacted me because he saw Dominguez coming back was having a winter type of dress up to try to get students to come in. They're doing all kinds of things to motivate the kids to
For
come
the
in.
high school and William B. Green, which are the highest ones that are, what particular things are they doing for those 2 campuses? And my concern is William B. Green as far as their academic performance.
Today, Green had almost 96. They were the second highest. So Green's attendance has been very good. They're one of the ones that are up there. High school today was at almost 94%. So they were 2% above our elementaries. So we're finding that our elementaries with the little ones are the ones that are struggling. One of the things that Mr. Cavasso shares with me as well, and he looks on a 6 weeks basis. We don't always just look at attendance for the all population. He looks at our bilingual population, and he looks at our special ed population. Actually, this year, we are up, if you wanna talk about that a little bit.
Sure, so, I mean, we monitor the special populations, cause there's funding attached to that. So we look at the career technology, and that's actually down about 6 FTEs over the first 3-6 weeks. Special education's up a little bit, bilingual population's down a little bit, so we look at all those indicators and then we have a discussion with the campus principals and see what can we do to try to improve those numbers. But all in all, it's sort of comparable to last year, down in a couple of indicators, but up on the others.
So overall, we are a little higher than we were last 6 weeks. If you don't mind me, I'm gonna move this because I can't see.
And do we have like a task force of like just that concentrates on specific like recruitment reasons and kind of uniquely assess that what's like for our community, what our students, what is it that they
For attendance?
For attendance or enrollment, just a combined. I know that other school districts are doing that. Do we have some? I know that Mr. Cavazos deals with that, but do you have like a more like other committees that in our school district?
Yeah,
that
we don't have a
deal with?
we don't have a task force for recruitment. We have, we do, for attendance, we do have, every campus has to have attendance committee.
But more like so involving community members, to allow that encouragement of changing that
Because you're
mindset.
talking about enrollment.
Enrollment, absentees, all, a combination of both, all of it
Yes.
together.
No, currently we don't have a task force like we do with, Finance Committee or SBM.
And then
I
we
first
have
talked at the
I have a
beginning,
question.
go ahead, Ms. Casas.
I have a question. As we look at that, and I thought that's what Alma was talking about, not so much comparing to last year, but, you know, we had 95.08, 94, and it was kept going down, and it was really the lowest in our third 6 weeks. If you look at this year, instead of, looking back at last year.
Right.
I guess my question kind of goes with what Alma is saying. Have we addressed, I know that we spent a year putting together an emotional wellness committee program, that we have an outstanding committee. Have they looked at, see what's going on? Because if you go to the previous, can you go to the previous slide? The previous one that shows the grades. If you look at that, all grades are important. But when you look at the highest absentee being in the high school, that's pretty serious. And you look at the absences at WB Green. Has there been any thought process of, let's find out what's going on with these kids? Because yes, we're doing the Saturday, and yes, we're meeting whatever the state is asking us, but what are we as a community doing? How are we taking care of our kids? Why are they missing so much school? What is going on?
So I can tell you, high school numbers are gonna be higher. They have 900 and something students compared to like Sanchez that has 300.
Well, that's
So,
all wrong.
what, right, so that is a factor why you're gonna see higher numbers. The same thing at Green, the attendance might be
But
higher.
it's also the most critical time also, the high school.
Right.
To me, that's
Right,
really
and,
the
and
most
we can
critical.
see little ones as far as being a critical time. Attendance, our principals are doing everything in the world that they can think of. I mean, they are
For
calling
example?
they're calling parents. They send out letters every time there's an absences. They meet with the kids. Today I got something from the junior high principal that says, I'm gonna try this. This is something brand new, a new initiative that I'm gonna try to see what we can do. So when something doesn't happen, same thing with Dominguez. If he sees that the attendance was low, he's gonna try something the next week to bring in and to raise that attendance.
Do you have a sample of what is the response the parents have when they call in, especially the ones that are having to come to the Saturday, classes? I mean, what is going on that they are not coming in when all the kids are in class? Because yes, Saturday, I mean, it's helpful, but I kind of feel that Saturdays is just to meet the state requirement. I mean, it's better to be in the classroom, it's better to be singing at the choir, it's better to be, playing basketball. All of that involves, makes a holistic child. So,
I can get you a report, ma'am, this week, on what we're doing for attendance, specifically the questions that both of you are asking. I'll get that information for you.
Well, we've had principals present to us as to what they've done to motivate the kids. I mean, I do know that at the end of the 6 weeks, they reward them, with either a movie, popcorn, or a fun day. I
We
know.
presented in October,
Yes,
and
I
I
mean-
gave you a listing for each
Yes,
campus, but I
mean,
can give you
but
that
it's not
again.
working. It's
Well,
not
we are doing better than we were last year.
Exactly. We can't say it's not working because it is better.
I know there's been a lot of sickness, and the sickness is lasting. It's not like a 2 or 3 day, and you can ask our doctor here.
But I can give you samples of, if we had 30 students absent out of school, why were they absent? Is it because they were sick? Is it because they were out of town? I can give you an example to show you why our students are not coming to school.
And
that's,
what we're doing to address those
absolutely,
things.
absolutely.
And this information is being related to the community through town hall meetings and stuff like that, because I've been there in the town hall meetings. But I guess I didn't see it like how you said. The two top campuses have the highest I guess enrollment in that campus. It would have a little bit more. Maybe in a percentage for me would have been, I would have understood that, but still like enrollment, like I know that from Dominguez to William B. Green, we lose some of those students from transitioning to William B. Green. So for me, my concern is like the overall attendance, ADA, what is, that's why I was kind of mentioning the task force and a more, to aid the administration, to have that combination of community engagement, parent involvement, try to figure out like how do we get, can at least we recruit more and maintain them. I understand that weather patterns and things happen, cause I know my kid was sick as well, and they have, doctor's appointments, so I understand
Right.
that. So, I forgot that, Willoughby, high school in Willoughby Green had a bigger,
And I'll share with you, you're going to see that Green is one of my top campuses with attendance this year. And so I'll share that with you as well.
Which
But I'll
to
give
me,
you a
When I
report.
saw that, I thought, wow.
No, it's
And I go
amazing.
back- well, I go back when I was an administrator, usually the elementary campuses beat the secondary campuses, and now they're beating the elementary, which is like, that's a wow. So obviously they're doing something to get those kids
And that's an
in.
awesome thing for the junior
Oh,
high.
definitely, yes it is, yes it is. So we know that the principals are working very hard to obviously bring that attendance rate up.
Yeah, if I may add, over the past 4 or 5 years, our attendance rate has actually increased a little bit. So pre-COVID, we're about 96.5, 97%. We're hoping, we're inching up towards that. Eventually, we hope that we
We'll
get
get
to
there.
that, yes.
Get there, normal times, get there. Any other question of Mrs. Torres?
Well, let me continue
Oh, I'm sorry.
the failures. I had just stopped with the
Oh,
attendance.
Yes,
So
you're still
something else,
talking.
yes, something else we did with failures this year is we felt that it was important not to wait till the end of the year and have summer school and address failures at that time. So what we're doing now, after the first 6 weeks, we are addressing failures and students are getting remediation either through the ACE program or through, after-school tutoring and after-school work with the teachers. And so we're continuing with that because to go to summer school and make up a whole year in 15 days doesn't do justice. And so on Tuesdays and Thursdays during the year, if you fail, you're getting that remediation, the following 6 weeks. So we're continuing that.
I mean, I'm seeing the activities that are being done for that. Are we seeing that our students are passing?
And I'll continue.
I
yeah.
know we get a failure rate every 6 weeks. In other words, all these activities is that helping?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay,
It's
it's
helping.
helping the kids pass, okay. Are you done with this
Yes.
activity? Any questions of Mrs. Torres? Okay, the next.
And I'll get you that report by Friday.
The next information item is Superintendent Performance Goal 4, Activity 2, the district-wide discipline plan.
So one of the changes that we made is last year we started a matrix, and so anytime there were a discipline problem, we wanted to make sure we were consistent across the district. And so for the infraction, we were very consistent. However, we felt like in the past we have been reactive and not proactive. And so we started this year a district-wide discipline plan of restorative discipline. So it fosters the safe and supportive learning environment. They understand the expectations and you address the behavior. And again, trying to do it ahead of time. So we began, if you look at the second slide, with training. Our counselors, our LSSPs, and our administrators got a 2-day training in the summer. And then all our teachers, when they came back in August, were also trained. Our counselors are the ones that work with the restorative discipline. This doesn't happen quickly. It's basically meeting with students and helping them come up with better ways than the way they're doing it. We also changed DAP quite a bit, and we're continuing. We made some adjustments again in the spring because some of the things that we were doing were not working as well. And then the counselors have monthly counselor meetings that they talk about that, and you can see the dates there. So if one of the things that you asked me last year and the superintendent goals is to look at the altercations that we had. And so that we can see that while it wasn't a huge, we went down from 11 to 9 at the junior high to high school, you can see that there was a decline. And when you're looking at data, and you look at 24, 25, in November and December, at either campus, we did not have any altercations. They were all at the beginning of the school year. So we feel like as the school year has gone along, then we have seen that drop, and especially in the last 2 months before the break, not having any altercations. So we continue to work with that. We continue to work with our kids to make sure that they understand conflict resolution. We also had all of our PE and all of our campuses review conflict resolution at the very beginning with every single student and talk about what are better ways to do it than fight. And what are better ways to handle when you're frustrated. And so they went over that. So those are some of the things that we're doing with discipline.
Well, I commend the district for, the changes made at the junior high, because it was like night and day. It was awesome.
Not only at, there, but also the lower levels. I
Yeah.
noticed that there were some kids in, first, second grade, that didn't know how to communicate. The first thing was to get, upset, get physical. And, this plan, to see it at that level, and now they're friends, like I got to have a conversation with one of the counselors and see that, it's gonna only continue as they get older and going to higher grades, and that's, I really admire how you
And
guys
the
put this plan
counselors-
together.
Yes.
The
Really
counselors
great.
are
It
doing a
works.
great job, and this is under the direction of Mrs. Ramos, so I appreciate her too.
Thank you, Mrs. Ramos.
Any questions of Mrs. Torres? The next item is Superintendent's Performance Goal 5, Activity 6, Building Capacity with SEL.
So when we talk about, you know, the social emotional learning and how, and Mrs. Casas brought this up just a moment ago, when we met with the team, and it was all about coming up with resources, and one of the things that we did, and we talked about this at the last meeting, is we got the grant with UTRGV, so we have more personnel. We just found out from Region that a part of their grant that we applied with, we also received where we're going to be able to allow some of our teachers to get a free counseling degree, or LSSP, and that's another grant, because there's just not enough counselors and LSP and social workers out there. And so that was something else through Region 1. But some of the training is, we've had new counselors training and procedures and requirements that we just talked about before, restorative circles, and we've completed that. Autism parent training, we had that and completed that. Parent conference last year, this year, we're going to have a session with our LSSPs on how to deal with anxiety, because part of the problem is, we have students that do very well in school, make straight A's, but they put a lot of pressure on themselves, and so we want to talk to parents to see how they can support their children in that kind of situation. Mental health services and needs, with 504, anxiety parent session, again in February and March that we're doing. De-escalating techniques for assessments, that's something that we talked with our staff about. And then weekly therapy practice lessons that we are having. Again, we talked about the mental health team serves about 50, and why does that number stay the same? Because we only have so many, and within their schedule, that's what they can do. But those students change as to this student's able to cope and figure it out, and then somebody else needs assistance. And then sometimes we have a student sometimes that has to be seen 3 times a week. That particular week, they're just struggling. So everything always changes. So we have our counselors seeing students, that's way over 50, and then we have our LSSP seeing students as well. So those are some of the things that we're doing. If you go to the next slide, we have family group counseling and consultation. Our social workers work with our families. At the high school, they started having peer interest groups, and they have lunch groups that they meet with. They also do that at the junior high, and that is something that they started doing. Conflict resolution, I talked to you about that, and that was something we did this year to make sure that we did it at the very beginning of the year. Collaboration with DAP for counseling, and one of our high school counselors, Ms. Zambrano, takes care of that. Behavior group sessions, and then autism peer groups that they work with. If you look at the next one, so again, the campus-wide behavior training, we had positive behavior support implemented on different campuses. We talk to teachers one-on-one when they have a specific student that we have concerns with. RTI behavior, response to intervention, that's what RTI is. And it's not just about academics, but it's also about behavior. We had John Munoz come in last week and train our principals on behavior plans. And that the behavior plan is not for the student, the behavior plan is for the teacher. And it's how to deal with that behavior and how to positively do that. And he met with the principals all morning about things like that with our students, and not just special ed, but our general ed. And we felt that was important that they get that training. So a lot of training this year, a lot of providing resources to our staff, a lot of changing up the way that we've done things in the past. And then when it doesn't work, you change it again. And so those are the things that we're doing, because some things we do and it doesn't work. It doesn't at all. And so we have to adjust. Questions? Yes, ma'am.
On those, providing those resources, if, I know there's a lot of mental health, a lot of emotional or anything like that, do the counselors or any, officials do they refer them out if they perceive that it's something more, biological, something that is affecting, let's say, they're, something simple that might be deficient in iron and they become depressed on, or it's causing the anxiety versus just having that mental.
We have MOUs with behavior centers, with tropical, with different, so if we feel like they need more than that, sometimes parents come and talk to our counselors or our LSSPs about support. And so it's not, everything is not always done in school, and sometimes it's done outside for those supports.
So those resources are there?
Yes. The social workers, now that we have an intern and we have a social worker, they work with the parents on providing those resources as well. So having two this year, we've been able to support that a lot more.
Good job.
Any questions or comments? Moving on, consent agenda. There are 3 items on the consent agenda, and they are the monthly tax report, the quarterly investment report, to change the regular February board meeting from February 10th to February 11th of 2025. Do I have a motion to approve the items listed on the consent agenda? I have a motion by Mrs. Martinez. Do I have a second? A second by Mr. Briones. It's been moved and seconded to approve the items listed on the consent agenda. All those in favor, raise your hand or say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Motion carried, 6-0. It is now, it is now 6:48 p.m. and we're moving into closed meeting pursuant to Texas Government Code Chapter 551. It is now 8:11 p.m. and we are now coming to open session. Do I have any motions?
Yes, Madam President, I move that we offer probationary contract as discussed in closed session for the 2024-2025 school year to Jose R. Garcia, Child Nutrition Director, and Jasmine Sines, Registered Nurse, Health Services Coordinator, pending completion of required documentation.
Thank you, Mrs. Johnson. Do I have a second? I have a second by Mrs. Martinez. It's been moved and seconded to approve the following positions: Mr. Garcia, Child Nutrition Director, and Jasmine Sines for Registered Nurse. All those in favor, raise your hand or say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed, same sign. Motion carries 6-0. And for item A3, which is the superintendent evaluation, the superintendent received an exceptional rating from the board. Congratulations,
Thank you so
Mrs.
much.
Torres.
Thank you.
Any other motions?
I move that we extend the superintendent contract until January 30th, 2028, and increase the annual salary to $170,000.
We have a motion by Mr. Briones. Do we have a second?
I second.
We have a second by
Okay.
Mrs. Martinez. All those in favor, raise your hand or say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Motion carries 6-0.
Thank you so much.
Congratulations. District announcements.
Yes, January 14th, we have the informational parent meeting on restructuring campuses at Dominguez at 5:30. On January 16th, we have 2 activities. We have the finance committee meeting at 12 p.m. at Mrs. Torres' office. And also a special call board meeting at 6 p.m. On the 17th, we have a Spanish adult mental health first aid training at the facility at 8:30. On the 21st of January, we have informational parent meeting on restructuring the campuses at CE Bell at 5:30 p.m. Also on that same day, we have a Gear Up parent meeting at Green Library at 5:30 p.m. January 23rd, we have the annual parent conference, which is at the La Feria Early College High School. On the 24th, we have an all-city choir concert at the CE Bell Auditorium at 6 p.m. And on the 25th, we have the Fundamental Sports Special Olympics at the La Feria Early College High School Gymnasium.
Any questions of Ms. Ramos? Thank you, Mrs. Ramos. If there is no other business, do I have a motion to adjourn? A motion by Mrs. Martinez, do I have a second? A second by Mr. Zambrano. All those in favor, raise your hand and say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. It is now 8:14 p.m. and this meeting is adjourned.
Thank you so much.